Today is Sunday, July 27th, 2025, and it is Yom Rishon, first day of the week, because in Israel, Sunday is the first day of the week, as opposed to the United States, where Monday is the first work day. Here in Israel, Sunday is the first day of the week, so Yom Rishon, second day of Av, Bet Av, 5785, and the Parsha is Parshat Devarim. The Torah reading is, we start the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 1. And this is the PL-89 calendar, and it's turning 13 this year. I always attribute its creation to its completion when it was the first original design of it was late Av or early Elul of the year 2012, which was Tafshin Ayin Bet. Although the whole year of that year I had been working on it and developing the concepts of it. This is a lunar and solar calendar that is also a Julian calendar and a Daf Yomi calendar. And it's based on the planet Mercury. That is the revolution of planet Mercury, the orbit around the sun, which published data has it as 87.9691 days. And those are the basic themes of this calendar. And there are various dispensations since 2012. It's based on the very I guess elementary or basic principles of astrology. The seasons, the months, you have them in Jewish law, and it's just pretty universal. Tractate Rosh Hashanah, I think, deals with it. It has to do with the seasons. That they call them tekufot. The tekufa of Tammuz, which we're in right now, the tekufa of Tishrei, which we are approaching, the tekufa of Tebet, and tekufa of Nisan. Those are the four seasons. But then there's three types of months, which are the months within the season. There's 4 seasons, but each season has 3 months. So this calendar is a year, which is 3 months seen as a whole year. So imagine in one of our Earth years, whether you see it as a solar year, 365, or you see it as a lunar year, 354, you can have 4 years that are concentrated into 1 year. 4 Mercury years, because the whole year for Mercury is 87, which is like 88, 89, 90, that area, amount of days. And that's what this calendar does. And this calendar also, if you look at the formation of it, the way it is, how many columns and rows, you will see that there's a candle that was making a little light there. So you will see that it's 8 times 10. But there's also something in the Kabbalah, an esoteric dimension of Judaism, of Torah learning. It's called the 72 Names of God, and it's taken from verses in the book of Exodus at the time of the splitting of the sea. Each verse has exactly 72 letters. And that's an interesting phenomenon in its own right. But from these 3 verses, it had to do with the moments immediately preceding the splitting of the sea, where it says the angel of the Lord and the pillar of cloud that were going in front of the camp of Israel, the nation of Israel, the Israelites, went behind them and stood between them and the Egyptians, and illuminated the night, and one didn't come in contact with the other all night, although the Egyptians were pursuing them. And then it says that Moses lifted his hand, and God had made a wind pass, a strong east wind from, it's called Aza. Aza can be strong. I don't think it's from the place Aza or Gaza, but it could be connected to that. But this east wind somehow is connected to the sea splitting. And then something miraculous happened. One of the greatest miracles in the national history is that the sea split. And this calendar is connected to that because that name, which the Kabbalists formulate the 72-letter name, is exactly in the same format as this calendar. Except in Hebrew, you read from right to left. And in English, of course, you read from left to right. So this calendar is meant to be read both left to right and right to left, both. So that means that the box number 8 is the first box, and the box 28 is also the first box, depending on where you're counting from, which system you're in. But the PL-89 calendar, if you're going on the Mercury philosophy, the way of thinking, of course, not necessarily of course, but it's going in the English way. And the Gregorian calendar, and that, I guess you could say, non-Jewish way of thinking. But then the Hebrew, but at the same time, let's not forget, this is both lunar and solar, so it's combining Jacob and Esau, represented by the sun and the moon. And therefore, it starts, you count it like it's Hebrew. There's something for everybody here. So, today, and there's one rule on this calendar, that one of the reasons why it's called PL is that if you look at the color of the boxes, you'll see that they're both kinds of purple. I mean, besides for the top ones that are yellow and white, these are auxiliary. They could be actually changed. The reason why it says Oakwood cabinets and Beverly cabinets is where this was developed. It was in Los Angeles in a synagogue called Etz Jacob on Beverly Boulevard, and there were two cabinets. And in these cabinets, there was a purple lock. That's a PL, purple lock. And as I remember, it was like a two-tone, like a combination lock. It was like purple and then a lighter shade of purple. So the lighter shade of purple, I called it lavender, because lavender is a very, very light purple. This might be more violet, but still, you can be, in relation to this would be lavender. I think everyone would agree to that. So these cabinets, one cabinet was next to, like, from inside the room, it was closer to Beverly Boulevard. And then the other cabinet was closer to Oakwood. This is another street in Los Angeles. It's the next street after Beverly. But those are just examples. It could be anything. I think I want to rename these things and call this either Aleph and Bet, and then Bet Aleph, it switches, it alternates, depending on two kinds of thinking. There's intuitive thinking and counterintuitive. It's like the right and the left. And it goes back to the same theme. It's kind of a recursive idea. It's like the sun, the moon, right, left, Jacob, Esau. It's like this duality that they all kind of circle around the same ideas of duality and unity. And it's constantly an idea comes into duality where there's opposites, and then it makes peace between the two, and then it becomes unity. In fact, the word unity, spelled U-N-I-T-Y, in English gematria, has a numerical value of 89, and that's one of the reasons why it's called the PL-89. It takes things that are duality, that should be opposites and at war, and it brings them together and makes them at peace. You could see, like, wait a minute, purple, and this is violet, but you could say, really, they're just two shades of purple. And so if you wanted to be in duality thinking, you could say no, one's violet, one's lavender, one's purple, and then they'd be right. But if you wanted to say, well, if you just made this a little darker, you made this one a little bit lighter, they'd be the same color, and and that person or she would be right too. So that's one of the concepts behind this calendar. Now, one of the reason why it's the same color but it's different is coming to the idea of permutations. Like, let's just say 314 is three digits, and it has 6 combinations. So if I said 314 and if I said 134, everyone would agree that they're not the same number. But if they were colors, they would look the same. And that's the idea. Permutations can be used, but it's important to know when to use them. And if it's for quantifying, it's terrible to use them, because something that costs $314, you will not be able to go in there and say, wait a minute, I have $134, I should be able to, it's the same digits. No, that doesn't work. But if I saw a flag that was, let's say, green, white, and orange, and then I saw another flag that was orange, white, and green, I would say, that flag looks a lot like that flag. That's what it's for. It's for identity. And that's what this is all based on. It's all based on associating something with the other. This looks like this looks like this, in an infinite, but in a unlimited way, until everything looks like something else, until you see that everything looks like something else in a particular way, and that's what creates unity and reconciliation. Again, if you want to be divisive, you can say, well, no, at the end of the day, it's different. 314 is not 413 or 341. You're right, it's not the same. You'd be 100% right. But there's a way that you can see it, that it is the same. And that's the bechina, that's the point, the philosophy of this calendar. So, all that long explanation to say that these two can become one. Like in Excel, you can merge the cells. So the rule in this calendar is that purple and violet or lavender can become one cell. And today is the second day of Av, which puts us at 17. Now, it's I don't want to be misleading, because the second day of Av is only 17 in this dispensation, but it has 3 different dispensations. But where we're in right now, meaning as of ER of 2024, which is May, right after Pesach time of 2024, it's in this dispensation. But for 4 years before that, it was in a different arrangement. 4 years when Corona came out, and then it somehow became COVID. But when it came out, it was Corona. This would not have been August or Av. This would have been Nisan. That was 4 years that way, and then for 8 years it was a different way. But right now, and each dispensation is so important, because it speaks to that time, and then once that time is over, that's it. So right now, Bet Av is at 17, and remember the principle is that 8:17, 8 is Aleph of Av, and 17 is Bet of Av. That's the second day of Av today, in 5785. It's very important that we establish that. So, so 17. So going back to the 72 names, if you start from here, the first of the 72 names is Vav He Vav, which has a numerical value of 17. So it's very interesting to note that the 17 that happens in this cuboid, I call that, it's like a 3D rectangle. And this rectangle, when it's merged, is the same number as this cuboid here, and that's what unifies both the Hebrew way of thinking and the Gregorian way of thinking. If you're going right, left, or left to right. Now, and as far as the Gregorian calendar, we're still in July 27th today. July 27th is still in the 10-day twilight period down here. And in terms of thoughts of the 27, I don't really have anything for that, but that's the thing for today.